internet trolls, and they're everywhere. But what do they want? What is their purpose? I'm going to take a bit of a dive from a therapist perspective to try to explain some of the psychology around trolls, internet trolls. They hide behind being anonymous. A lot of times this person might have negative or unstable self-perceptions, so they can take on different personas and try them out. They might be really self-conscious. They might have low self-esteem. So that is one type of internet troll. But then there are also some internet trolls that have what we call the dark personality traits, also known as the dark triad. So the first one is Machiavellianism, and that is where that came from, an actual person, Machiavelli. So they are very manipulative, they're deceptive, they'll adapt different identities online, and they're very strategic. They like to control. They'll have a self-serving goal, but it's under that cloak of being anonymous. So under that, it's almost like they put an invisibility cloak on themselves, and now they can try out all these different things and mess with people. Number two is psychopathy, or the clinical term is antisocial personality disorder. And this is somebody who lacks empathy or remorse and has no conscience. So they will present a very inauthentic self online to deceive people. And they will enjoy the reactions that they get. They're having fun at other people's expense. And then what leads us to the third one is outright sadism. So a sadistic person is going to enjoy making other people suffer. So they just throw out mean comments, and the more people respond, they say don't feed the troll, they are getting that supply. They are really enjoying whatever responses that they get, but they're still hiding behind a screen. So they might not be out torturing people in real life, although some of them might be. They are doing it in the safety of a screen, so they're not suffering the repercussions that they would necessarily in real life. So there are certain topics that they thrive under, and then there are also certain forums or any sort of platform, and you could even read like a feel-good article. Maybe it's about a woman astronaut, and they'll make a comment about her looks, or they'll just say something really awful or misogynistic, and they'll just pick out things that have absolutely nothing to do with the article. People just enjoying their lives, accomplishing things, and this person feels threatened by it, and they have to pick at it and take these down a notch. I'll explain on that a little further, because later in the video, stay tuned, I'm going to talk about the types of trolls, because there are many different types they fall under. And then there are actual forums. So one example would be the incel forums, where it's already attracting very radical ideologies. It's attracting certain types of people that are full of self-hatred and really toxic against society. And that's where they will be very disparaging to women, for example, and use really toxic language. And they're feeding off each other. So the content itself is already really toxic. And then the trolls are coming in and making it even worse. And it's just creating this really bubble of toxicity. So now we're going to get to the types of trolls. I did get this from an article I saw in Men's Health, so credit to them. I did not come up with some of these terms, but I think they really cover it really well. So the first one is the know-it-all, and this is the person that they might come in as a professional makeup artist. The way you drew your lips is just wrong. Always coming in as a professional. And they just have to, put you in your place because you're wrong. And a lot of times they'll just be nitpicking over some tiny little detail. alternative facts people. So the alternative facts people will just make some sweeping statement like 90% of the population are aliens. I heard that. I did my research, but then there's nothing to back it up. There's no link. There's no peer-reviewed articles. They are just spouting things. And they read it somewhere, they heard it somewhere, or it's just in whatever bubble that they're in of those alternative facts that they double down on. To number 4, the humble martyr. So they're the opposite. They make it about them, but it was always so much worse for them. So in other words, like you might talk about, I went to Bali, and they go, oh yeah, I barely lived through my trip to Bali after all this happened, and it flooded, and then the plane was delayed, and so again, they're making it about them, and everything went wrong. Everything was terrible. Martyr, but they're kind of bragging about it. So it's also very narcissistic because they're kind of getting supply by making themselves the center of attention. And then, of course, we have the proofreader, which also known as the grammar police. But there's a difference between looking at it and going, ugh, or really needing to point it out. And these ones, they're very smug about it because they really enjoy pointing out any tiny mistake or detail, or that you spelled a word wrong or something. And it's not about helping you or correcting you. It's really about feeling superior. And then we have number 6, the worthiness police. Who cares? Why is this news? Who is this person? Are we supposed to know this person? And yet they're there. They have to let everyone know, and they're deciding what's worthy or what's not. But instead of just scrolling on by, like most of us, like, oh yeah, I don't watch that show, I don't really care. They have to make a point of telling people or discerning whether what you're posting or what you're talking about is even important. And then number 7 is the evidence producer. So this is somebody who they've done all the research. They have all the research, and they can't wait to share it with you, and you did not ask. And again, they're doing it not to be helpful, but to one-up you. And you might post something or talk about something that you at least probably know something about. And they will tell you why you're wrong, and they're going to give you links and resources. They're going to overload you almost, so you don't even have time or energy to even look at any of these things. One of their favorite things, you should do more research. One of their favorite things to say, or you're just plain wrong, and here's why. And then they have to just give you a whole list and all kinds of evidence of why you are wrong. And again, it's a narcissistic thing because they're putting the attention on themselves and painting them as the expert. And I always say, hey, if you know all that, why don't you just get your own channel, get your own page? 8 is the pirate. They steal. So the pirate will almost paraphrase or even word for word what you might have just said, but it's almost like they came up with themselves. But it's not that they're validating what you said. They're making it like they came up with that and it's theirs. And you're and then if you say, well, I just said that, you get nowhere with it. So it's not even worth engaging. And then number 9 is someone who's really angry about something else. They're mad, they're angry, they're bitter, and they're just coming on here and they're going to just be mad. So they're already mad, and then you said something, the sky is blue, they're going to argue and tell you why it's pink. And you cannot win. They're just going to be mad for being mad. They need to rant. They need to get it out. Again, they don't want to do it with real people or maybe they've tried and it doesn't go well, so they can hide. They can hide behind that invisibility cloak. And then the hit and run. So the hit and run will, they're a hater, but they lack conviction, is how someone put it. So they'll make a comment and they'll just bounce. Like they might say, no one cares about anything you have to say. And then boom, off they go. Or you're ugly, you suck, gone. They're there. And then they don't even stick around for the fallout. So they'll just boom, boom, gone. This brings us to number 11. And these in some way are the most troubling ones because they're the ones that can be really dangerous in real life. And they are the un-PC, that's how they describe themselves, racist, misogynist, homophobic, transphobic. They're the ones that just full of hatred for anyone that isn't them or their demographic. They'll always find some way to denigrate that person, that somehow they didn't get there on their own merits because they are of a certain race or gender or class or orientation, or because they're not them. And they'll use words like
crybabies and snowflakes and
oversensitive. And they'll usually say, "Oh,
I'm just calling it like it is. I'm just being real."
They're actually being really offensive and really insulting. And they're the ones that will cry about free speech, but they don't understand what free speech really means, that all that means is the government can't throw you in jail for expressing your opinion. But that doesn't mean that you can just say terrible things and not have consequences. Hide behind the internet, they hide behind their screen to just say the most vile, toxic, horrible things. And then, number 12, we have the non-reader or non-watcher. This is the person who makes comments, but they haven't even bothered to watch or read. So I see this a lot where someone doesn't bother to read an article and then they just go on this whole thing, and it's usually finding offense with it.
It's insensitive, it's disgusting, it's, oh, think of the children.
I always, like, a lot of the Karens do that, and when I use the word Karen, I use it to cover all genders, because there's a lot of non-female Karens out there too. So I'm just using it in that generic sense, like, you know, being a Karen as in the sense of clutching your pearls. But the worst ones are the ones that literally didn't even bother to watch. They didn't even click on it, and they're going off about how horrible this is. So those are kind of the main types of trolls that exist. If you think of any others or know of any others, feel free to share. I'd love to hear your comments. And then, how do we handle trolls? We ignore them. And the best thing to do is not engage. So if you are on a forum, whether you're a creator, whether you post something yourself, or just in the comments or reading something, don't engage, don't feed the trolls. All you're doing is giving them supply, and you're just playing their game. So same thing with any kind of toxic person, whether a narcissist or they're a psychopath or whatever they are, the only way to win is to not play. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.